Tonight, new details in the fatal plane crash that killed NASCAR star Greg Biffle and 6 others in December, revealed through a preliminary report from regulators.
And our Forrest Tucker joining us live now from our newsroom, where he's been digging through the findings that were released just hours ago. So, Forrest, we now know the plane had an unqualified pilot on board.
Kim, John, pilot Dennis Dutton and his son Jack were at the controls for the flight. This report tells us that Dennis was the only qualified pilot on board, and his son did not have enough experience to be his second in command. The eldest, Dutton, was a former commercial airline pilot who had logged over 17,000 hours in the cockpit across several different aircraft. His son had logged just over 175 hours of flight time with experience piloting single-engine airplanes. Another finding related to who was controlling the plane is that Biffle never touched the instruments, but did alert the pilots to possible mechanical issues. Those include multiple issues with the left side engine before and during the flight. Aviation expert Steve Scheibner says these details provide key context for what happened on December 18th.
Well, they took off in an airplane that required a second in command, and they didn't have one. It's kind of like, as long as you don't get caught, then it's not that big a deal. They're just going to fly the airplane down to Florida and land it. But there's a reason that they require a second command, especially with the type rating that he had on that airplane. Because if something goes wrong and you get into a pinch, you really want somebody that's qualified on that airplane, not a passenger sitting in the other seat.
This report does not come to a conclusion on the cause of the crash. It just provides more information. That's key to note. The entire report will likely be released in 1 year. Live in the newsroom, Forrest Tucker, WBTV, on your side.